The Quivira Coalition is a 501c3 nonprofit that for the last 25 years has worked to foster resilience on dry working lands throughout the western United States and beyond. We envision a world where agriculture provides for the health of rural economies and communities, fosters social equity, and regenerates climate, land, water, and ecosystems. To that end, we manage 3 core programs. The new Agrarian Program, an apprenticeship program for aspiring regenerative ranchers. The Carbon Ranch Initiative, which deploys and supports soil health practices on working lands. And the Education and Outreach Program, which develops and shares educational tools and workshops to support resilient working lands and their stewards. In 2022, the new Agrarian Program graduated 24 apprentices from 17 mentor sites. In addition to their hands-on training from mentors, apprentices also received supplemental education from Quivira staff and guest speakers regarding soil health, financial management for ranchers, and more.
In the case of the new Agrarian Program, we really have tried to broaden the idea of agrarian apprenticeship into being sort of leadership and managerial training. What is the ideal state I want this particular piece of land to be in 20 years from now? And how do I work backwards from that to how I move the fence today?
That's what this program is about, is managing the world as it comes to you, and in a very whole way, including the community of people that you live with.
Over the next year, we plan to invest further in mental health resources for new agrarian alumni, noting an increase in mental health challenges across the agricultural sector. We also plan to build out further programming for alumni in order to help connect graduates of the program and create a self-sustaining network of support among past apprentices and mentors. Our Carbon Ranch Initiative expanded its impact in 2022. It finished its first year of research regarding compost application and its impact on soil health, including water infiltration and carbon sequestration. We also continued offering educational workshops across New Mexico and created 8 full ranch and farm plans on sliding payment scales to remain financially accessible to traditionally underserved producers.
With Quivira, we are participating in the Farm Ranch Planning Program, which takes place over a year. We've been very fortunate to be working with Catherine Ottmers of Quivira Coalition. We meet with her every couple of weeks. She has guided us in terms of employment law, legal matters, financial issues as well.
In 2023, the Carbon Ranch Initiative will continue its education work, hosting nearly 20 educational events. We will also submit 4 manuscripts regarding our soil health research for peer review and publication, and begin compost and biochar demonstration projects in Texas. Our Education and Outreach program was also busy in 2022. Together with the Carbon Ranch Initiative, they hosted over 50 workshops for stewards who collectively impact more than 62 million acres. They also co-hosted our Regenerate conference in Colorado for the first time in its 2-decade history, attracting one of our largest and youngest audiences yet. Finally, education program staff managed the New Mexico Coalition to Enhance Working Lands, or NMCOOL, hosting the first class of the annual NMCOOL Fellowship in 2022. These fellows engaged in professional development training to empower culturally relevant land stewardship projects in their communities, and then worked with Quivira to implement capstone projects across the state of New Mexico.
Yeah, I knew about Quivira because I had heard about kind of their work with collaborative building and working across, different sectors like conservation and ranchers, and I think that's really cool work, especially in New Mexico where there's a long history of displacement, of people losing their land, and I think it's very fertile ground for that kind of collaboration. So I think that they have helped me to kind of expand what I consider to be regenerative agriculture. I felt kind of bolstered by Quivira to do something a little different. So I am running a research project in the spring that will be interviewing farmers and teachers about what they would like to see in curriculum to get students on urban farms, and specifically students from Title I schools.
In 2023, the Education and Outreach program will continue its work with NMCOOL, hosting monthly meetings to coordinate the effective pursuit of government funding for land stewardship work in the state of New Mexico. We will also oversee the management of a sister initiative in Colorado called CoCool, and the development of an open source collaboration toolkit to establish best practices for collaboration between grassroots organizations and larger government or regional entities. 2022 is Quivira's 25th year in operation, and we feel the need for resilient working lands and care for the people that steward them is greater now than ever before.
Without Quivira, I don't think our tribal rangelands workshops would have been possible, because their collaborations and their partnerships with various stakeholders, from the federal government down to local grassroots organizations, help put the framework together for, our tribal rangelands workshop series.
I think one of the important lessons we've learned from the very beginning is farming is challenging. If we hadn't had Quivira or other community partners, we might have quit a long time ago.
I think they're really important because they're providing access, they're providing funding, they're providing opportunities to collaborate at a moment when the climate crisis is, looming in front of us, and our communities and our social structures have been disrupted by the pandemic. There's no more important time to be giving people who work with land all of the funding and opportunities that they need to do their work to the best of their abilities.
We are a coalition committed to healthy food systems and care for working lands and rural communities, and we hope you'll be a part of it.